Stephen Klung, Archer Monologues. Just looking at a downsized DC newsletter. I get these often from them. Today the topic is healthcare, insurance, Obamacare, that sort of thing. And downsized DC is offering some suggestions on what can be done to fix the nightmare of healthcare in America. And and I know there are people that don't get it, but Obamacare, and you could call it the Affordable Care Act, which is an oxymoron, and only a moron believes that. It's just another one of those mind-boggling things. So, here's the deal. I'll read it. Quote, "A natural price is one that reflects supply and demand, not political dictates. A visible price is one a patient sees before agreeing to the procedure, not a number viewed on an insurance statement after the fact." So what Downsized DC is suggesting is restore natural prices, make them visible to the patients, so that there will be more consumer control, foster competition, and reduce costs. Patients currently have no incentive for frugality because insurance companies and taxpayers are paying nearly all of their health care bills. And no means to economize because they never get to see any prices for medical procedures in order to decide, well, I think you're a little too high. I think I'll go to the other hospital or the other doctor. I mean, if one doctor's charging you $160 a visit and you only get 15 minutes for him, to do whatever you got to do, and you think, well, you know what, that's a little steep. I think I'll just ask another doctor. Maybe he's cheaper. The insurance company have a racket going here because the physician knows, the insurance company's going to pay whatever I ask, pretty much. Certainly a lot more than I can expect to get from the common, ordinary, everyday patient who may very well be on Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid or fixed income or very little, limited income or no income. Makes it rough for us folks that don't have insurance or didn't have insurance. I do now. And have had for several years. Thank goodness. And it was expensive. However, we're talking about this. Let me see what else we've got here on this subject. I'll skip some of that. Natural prices set by the decentralized forces of supply and demand are nowhere to be found in today's healthcare system and the insurance business racket and the government racket and so forth. Third-party payments and the lack of visible prices disconnect patients from their doctors. Doctors don't work for patients. Remember that. That's important. They work for the people who control the purse strings, the insurance companies, and the big federal health care bureaucracies. This creates several distortions. I will read them now. Patients and doctors overuse medical services, pursuing tests and therapies that serve little purpose, that are unnecessary, in other words. This overuse inflates the cost of health care services. Definitely. Costs increase faster than health outcome improve. Yep. Politicians exploit these problems to enact reforms like Obamacare that are simply larger versions of what caused the mess in the first place. End quote. Natural prices are magic. I'm still quoting from the letter. Natural prices are magic, while prices set by politicians and bureaucrats are a curse. Try to understand this concept. A higher relative price sends two signals. First, it tells consumers to be more frugal with services. Second, it tells medical entrepreneurs that there's a business opportunity in offering new or expanded services. This conservative and increased production combine to expand supply and reduce prices. You understand? This is the exact opposite of how tax-funded subsidies and third-party payments work. Third-party payments reduce the need to be frugal. Instead, they increase demand and increase prices. Subsidies tend to increase prices so as to absorb not only the subsidy, but also whatever the consumer is willing to pay on top of that. This is why the three areas where politicians have done the most to reduce prices, housing, higher education, healthcare, etc., are also the areas where prices have risen most rapidly. So in other words, free enterprise. Read this line here. Quote, politically set prices are what empty store shelves in places like the Soviet Union and Venezuela. Socialism. Get it? In other words, not democracy, not freedom. Certainly not freedom of business. There's some more stuff here, yada, 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 yada. I agree with it. Politicians poisoned our healthcare system. They can only fix it by sucking out the politicians. Sucking out the politics. So there you have it. And that's the newsletter from Downsized DC. An organization trying to help make the world better and the country better and to make, for less government, smaller government, and less corruption and thievery and evil. Now, I'm going to give a personal word here on Downsized DC. I think those people believe they're good people. I think they believe they're doing a good thing, and they think they're fine, upstanding citizens, and so on. And I think that they are to some degree. The problem is, Downsized DC is an organization, non-profit, because they took advantage of the incorporation schemes of the government to become a non-profit corporation. I think that's just so weird. Let's ask the government for permission to exercise a human right. Let that sink in for a second. I'm going to ask the tyrant for permission to exercise a natural, unalienable human right. Boggles the mind. Because I'm not doing that, folks. Okay? If I have a human right, a natural, inalienable human right, such as free speech, I am sure as hell not going to ask the masters, the slave owners, the crooks, the corrupt, the evil, tyrant, bully, and fucking piece of shit dictators, etc. I'm not going to ask their permission to do what I have every right to do without their permission. And by the way, the courts have ruled in America, and it is therefore the law, that the state or the government doesn't have the right, the power, the authority to do that. That is to say, turn a right into a privilege. And to relate to that, the right of a person to engage in business has been turned into a privilege called a corporation, which is the title under which people exercise privileges. Remember that, it's important. A corporation is granted permission by the government to engage in a privilege. You don't need a license to exercise a human right. That's why they're called human rights. not citizens' rights. So if I have the right of free speech, I'm not asking the government for permission to exercise that right. I'm just going to speak freely, as I often do, as you know, every day on my radio show, etc., and in real life, actually. The right, it is the right, it is unalienable, the government cannot take it away from me, and the fact of the matter is, I can't even give it away. Well, you actually can. By forfeiting your right of free speech, you get a license to exercise free speech, which is an oxymoron because it's not free if you have to pay for it or if you have to ask permission to do it. I have the right to have sex with anybody willing to have sex with me, by the way, and there is no law that is valid that says otherwise. There are invalid, illegal, evil, corrupt, criminal, treasonous laws that say, oh, you can't do that. And why can't I do that? Because we're the monsters that told you so, and we'll kill you if you do it. Or in the case of Obamacare, we'll hurt you if you don't do it. And so, like, let's understand this. The problem I have with Obamacare, and I'm going to call it that, I'm not going to call it the Affordable Care Act because it's just bullshit. It's a total lie, a delusion. Nothing affordable about it. I've heard the horror stories of how people's premiums have gone up like 100% or whatever, 100%, 1,000%, what have you. In other words, tripled, for example, in some cases. Where you're paying $400 a month, you wind up paying $1,200 a month for the same damn thing. Actually less, because now that they've got you by the balls, they can charge you whatever they want and give you whatever you want in return, because that's the way the insurance racket works. Like there are some prescriptions that the insurance companies say, I'm not covering that. And you have no recourse because you're not the boss of them, and you're not the boss of anything because you're a peon, and you pay them money and they'll do what they want with it. So the insurance companies are pretty much equal on par with the Nazi, criminal, fascist, police state, government motherfuckers. Yeah, if you don't have insurance, if you don't have health insurance today in America, you can't live here without. They'll put you in jail or fine you or whatever. I don't know, maybe they won't put you in jail. Maybe. But I bet you they could, and I bet you they will, and I bet you they may even already have done so for not having insurance or not paying insurance to your employees, for example. Paying for their insurance. Providing it to them. Just insane. It really is insane. For example, the deal with insurance. I mean, I went to a dentist once, years ago, and I had a government benefit, like insurance, and they put like 10 crowns in my mouth because my teeth were bad. And so much for fluoride preventing cavities. Yeah, fuckers. So anyway, I was talking to the dentist, as I am prone to do. When I'm in a dentist's office, I talk to them and find out shit. So I want to know, what are you going to do? How much is it going to cost me? Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it was mentioned that, and I asked the dentist, I said, why are the prices so high? He said, because the insurance companies will pay it. Oh. Well, if I don't have insurance and I'm just going to pay cash, well, even if I do have insurance and I decide to pay cash for the procedure that the dentist, like, okay, you got 10 teeth here, and how much are they? Like $500 a piece. I know they're a lot more than that today, but that just proves my point, doesn't it? So I've got $5,000 worth of teeth in my mouth now, or accessories to my teeth, crowns, caps, whatever you want to call it. And I like, really? And by the way, it didn't cost me a dime. Because the so-called quote-unquote insurance paid for it. And I asked him, but why are they so high? Why is it? Because the insurance companies will pay me the $500 a piece for these 10 crowns. That's $5,000. So if I came in and I wanted these 10 crowns and I didn't want to use my insurance to pay for it, I just said, I'll just pay cash. Well, like maybe I don't have dental insurance. And the dentist said, well, still $500. Same price, $500. What? I'm not giving you $500 cash for 10. That's $5,000 out of my pocket. I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. That's outrageous. That's criminal. Certainly unethical. But that was what he told me. And he's a dentist. And he deals with that. And he knows. Right? He knows for a fact, I guess, since he's a dentist, and he does at least know what kind of business he's doing and where the money comes from. I mean, what kind of dentist, what kind of businessman doesn't know what kind of money's coming in and who's paying it and shit? Pretty sure this dentist, being the intelligent person he was well aware of the fact that, the insurance was going to pay that $5,000 for my teeth. There wasn't even a copay, as I recall. There was no deductible, believe it or not. But bad enough, why? And then, because the insurance company will cover you, dude. Really? And my premiums for that at the time were not even close to $5,000. It might be that now a year for some people, or more. However, so there you have it. The reason they charge so much is because the insurance companies will pay and thus allow them to do so and get away with it. So if there wasn't any insurance covering medical procedures, then, dental procedures, then the dentist would have to be like, I'm going to charge you $500 cash. Everybody pays $500 cash out of their pocket. Multiply that by 10 crowns in my case. So the dentist would be saying, yeah, $500 per crown. Cash. In advance, probably. Time of service, anyway. Wow. But if there wasn't any insurance and he tried that, then nobody would do it. They said, I don't think so. For one thing, I don't have $5,000, and so I'm not having this procedure done, and I just won't have crowns, and I won't have nice teeth, because I don't have that money. I'm not going to give it to you. Even if I did have it, it's ridiculous. So the dentist would have to compete with other dentists on a fair market, free market of competition. And I would say, you know what, Doc, thanks anyway, but I'm going to ask another doctor about this and see what he says. And I go to the other doctor, and bear in mind, competition, so the other dentist wants my business. So he says, I'll do it for $300 each. And I say, well, gee, $300 is better than $500. I'm going to go with the other dentist. And the first dentist is going to lose my business. I'm not going to do business with him anymore because he's too outrageous. And I can't afford it anyway, so I'll have to find somebody. I can't afford it. I find a dentist that'll put crowns on my mouth for, $50 a piece. I'm going with that guy. Okay? I'm saying all other things being considered equal, like, for example, both are good dentists. One is just smart enough to know that he's going to get some business, as opposed to the other guy who's not going to have any business because nobody's going to give him $500 a crown. It's not going to happen. I mean, I know, rich people, whatever. I guess today they just put it on their credit card. At any rate, the insurance companies drive up the prices, keep the prices high, exuberantly, outrageously high, because sure, we'll pay it because they're getting a lot of premiums from the insurance from their customers. But they say, no, we're not gonna do that. What do you mean you're going to do that? Well, we're an insurance company and we're the boss of everything and we just don't want to pay for that. You mean you're not going to pay for a crown? Nope. but the price is $500 and I can't afford it. Well, then you're screwed. You're not going to get it. Need crowns, damn it. Or let's say I need my teeth pulled because I've got an abscess going up into my eyeballs and I need those teeth out of there so the poison will get out of my system and I'll live and I won't die from freaking toothache. You see, what I'm saying is insurance companies keep the prices inflated. The dentists and doctors and so on keep their prices inflated because they're playing off of each other. One is getting a lot of money premiums, which we can't afford, and then the dentist is getting a lot of money because the insurance company will pay it. And if the insurance company's not going to pay it, then, I'm going to charge you $500. And you don't have any say on that. You'll pay or you won't get. Now, I agree with the if you don't pay, you don't get thing. But if you're being coerced, blackmailed, extorted, that's what it is, extortion, and that's crime, and they're doing it and getting away with it, even though it's a crime. Extorting money from people is like a felony. You could go to jail for like 20 years or something, I don't know the guidelines on how long a sentence should be for extortion, but that's what they're doing to everybody in the country. So the dentists and the insurance companies are in cahoots, and that makes the government a part of that too, because they're involved. Like with Medicare, for example, and Medicaid, Medicare, so on, and Obama's not affordable health care. So what you've got is extortion, and they got you by the balls, because if you don't pay it, you don't get it. Now, let's say you need a surgery to save your life. I recently, about 8 months ago, had gallbladder surgery. I had it removed. It was inflamed and causing me pain and risking putting my life in danger, basically. Have insurance. Okay then, step right up, sit down, lay down, we'll just take that right out of there. Zip, 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 and out it is. $35,000 altogether. Might even be more than that. Insurance company says, well, we'll pay you $30,000. Okay. Suppose I went in there and I was like homeless and didn't have a job and I just didn't have any money and didn't have any property, didn't have anything. I just walking off the street say, I got a tummy ache, and they say, okay, and then they say, well, yeah, what's your insurance company? Where do you have your insurance? Don't have any. I'm homeless. I'm poor. I don't have a job. I don't have any money. Well then, fuck you. You're not getting the surgery. You're going to die, motherfucker. Now, I know there are laws in place that where they can't turn you down. If you go into an emergency room, for example, you don't have any insurance, you don't have any money, they gotta at least stabilize you. But that hardly covers it. Been in that situation where I said, I got this problem, doc, and can you help me? And he says, you got no insurance. So, well, yeah, don't. Right. Well, in that case, you're going to die. In today's America, of course, it's mandatory that you have health insurance. Otherwise, you can't live in the country. You'll suffer the consequences. But the bullies will, fine you money. Like, I don't know what, $500, $5,000, something like that. And if you're a taxpayer, which I don't know why you would be, unless you're a corporation, but if you're a taxpayer, what is a taxpayer? A taxpayer is a person who pays tax. So that means I'm not a taxpayer, because I don't. Why is that, D? Well, because I don't owe an income tax. I'm talking about income tax. I'm not talking about property taxes. I'm not talking about the involuntary taxes I pay every time I buy a gallon of gasoline or a pack of smokes. I'm talking about health care here. And this is criminal. And yet, we know this, well, at least those of us who are knowledgeable and educated and enlightened, etc., and intelligent, we know that the insurance companies are ripping people off, the government's ripping people off, and the dentists are therefore forced, pretty much, to, if they want to stay in business, forced to rip people off. Competition is irrelevant. There isn't any. Go to the dentist, and they're just basically all I'm going to tell you the same thing. You got no insurance? Nope. Then you're screwed. You got to pay the whole price out of your pocket. Or we're not going to put crowns on your teeth or fix that toothache you got there going on. But it boggles the mind. And it's criminal. Because coercion, extortion is a crime. So is fraud. So is robbery. So is murder. So is rape. Not having sex with consensual people involved, nope, that's not a crime. But still, they treat it like it's a crime if you're like under this fabricated imaginary age of 18, which nature doesn't recognize or give a shit about, by the way. All right, so the Obamacare, I think they should probably do away with that. I think that Donald Trump is considering it, and I think that Donald Trump is going to make some efforts to at least reform the reformation, so to speak. They're going to say, hey, stop doing this nonsense. People who are defending Obamacare are fools. I mean, basically, bottom line, they're fools. Because, it's unconstitutional, as we know. And even though courts have been a little hesitant to actually say so, that's because the courts are corrupt and in leagues with the fucking criminals. Duh! Nose is stopped up. I need a doctor. Well, I'm not going to go see a doctor over a stuffy nose because why? Because they'll charge me money. In principle, they're going to charge me too much. Like if I went to the emergency room, it's going to cost me like $1,500, probably more. Just because I got a stuffy nose from my sinuses. And the only reason I have a stuffy nose is because my sinuses are being irritated by the climate, atmosphere, weather conditions that I live under. Like when it's humid outside, it's probably going to be humid inside. And I'm going to suffer from humidity and allergies and pollen and grass weed thingies. And it's just, Doc, how much? $160, I'll give you 15 minutes. What's your problem? Just stuffy nose. Take Benadryl, that'll be $160. What? Take Benadryl. Go to the store, buy some Benadryl, take the Benadryl, or Claritin or whatever. You'll be fine, go away. Oh, give me $160. So I give them the $160 either from the insurance, here's my card for the insurance company, and they charge the insurance company and get $160. Or they say, you want to get out of here alive, we're not letting you leave till you pay $160, damn it. That's not only extortion, that's pretty much like kidnapping, isn't it? You're not going to live in this society as normal as you would because we're going to hold you ransom. You're not allowed to have your teeth until you pay me. But they're mine, I already paid for them. We're going to keep them until you pay more. So you got that scheme, racket, criminal act, crime against humanity, as I like to call it, going on there with a health thing. Insurance racket. Just saying. So now you know. Now you know. And I gave you resources. I told you how I got this information. I asked the dentist and he told me. That's how I know. I guessed it before that and after that, but he told me. So, quote unquote, the dentist who is a witness, who is experiencing the actual fact of the matter and he knows for sure what is going on. He says, yeah. The insurance company will pay thee. So if they don't, you will. Or you won't get your teeth fixed. Or your gallbladder removed. Or whatever. It's a fucking racket. And now we all know that there are certain things. It's hard to breathe when your nose is stopped up and talking at the same time. I need to do some medical procedures here on my nose so I can breathe. So to sum up, insurance companies are racket, therefore dentists, doctors, and so forth are involved in that racket, and your government's involved in that racket. Pretty much in the case of Obamacare, because the government actually got involved, even though nobody asked them to, for rails. But, oh yeah, we're here to help. Do-gooders and criminals and psychopaths. Pretty much the same thing. So I had this one thing I asked, because I know people that have been prescribed, say, Cialis or Viagra, because of their sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, ED. And I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about other people that actually, and there's no shame in that if you have that condition. But I'm not talking about me. It's not about me. It's about the criminals and the thieves and the victims of these criminals. So anyway, I got a prescription for Viagra or Cialis or whatever, one of those things. And go to the pharmacy and say, here's my prescription for maybe a month's supply of Cialis, let's say. And the pharmacist says the insurance company will not pay for that. And I said, what? Oops. Hypothetically. Okay, I'm not ashamed of there's no reason to be ashamed. Yes, I thought I might get some Cialis. The doctor said, you need it, so here it is. And the pharmacist said, nope, the insurance company won't pay for that. And I said, fuck that. Of course they will. I pay premiums. And it covers all of my medications. All of them. Except over the counter. Oh, by the way, don't you think that Cialis and Viagra should maybe be over the counter? Really? Don't you think? I do. I should be able to buy it just like I could buy aspirin. So they wouldn't pay it. So I'm like thinking to myself, I'm going to call the insurance company and give them help. Like, you will cover this, damn it. I said so. Because from now on you will. Because it's a prescription and you cover all we got a deal here. I get a prescription from my doctor. You will pay for that. Period. Covered. No case. No excuses. Do it. And then they say, fuck you. What? Fuck you. Pay your premiums. We're not paying it. Do I have recourse? Probably not. What am I going to do? Get a lawyer and file a lawsuit against this insurance company for not covering a legal, valid prescription? And since how the courts and the insurance commissioners in West Virginia, for example, they're all in cahoots with these criminals, the insurance companies, which tells you something. The government cares about the criminals called corporations and insurance companies as opposed to looking out for the citizenry. That means they're not doing their job. That means they're criminals and corrupt and evil and should not be in government. They should be removed from the government and perhaps even removed from the planet because they're evil. Criminals, nested, crimes against humanity bastards. So, that's what I have to say about that. It's wrong, people. And you have no recourse because you have no power. Unless, of course, you join together. I would like to know all of the names of everybody who is a customer of the particular insurance company that I have as my provider of insurance. They're like 5,000 at least. Go to the insurance company office, confront the insurance company representative and say, you're not covering this, and these 5,000 people behind me are here to tell you that from now on you're covering this or else you're going out of business. And we're here to tell you we're not going to leave until you do. Obey the rules of law and nature and freedom and the free market. You live up to your obligations. Cover the drug or else you're going out of business. And these 5,000 people behind me mean business. In other words, in mass. And I'm not saying go down to the courthouse and carry a sign, walk around doing little chanty things like, Obamacare is bad, Obamacare is bad. You know, it's not going to cut it because those bastards don't give a shit about you. And they don't care what you say. They don't care what you do. You can walk around in front of them naked with your little sign saying, unfair, unfair. You know, they just laugh at you. Like, huh, you're naked. Pfft, fool. And to go about doing what they're doing. It's just like the NSA is spying on people. We know this for a fact, thanks to Mr. Snowden and other sources. I've known it for a long time. A long time before Mr. Snowden told me about it. He just provided the proof and the evidence. And the NSA is still doing that. The government's still spying on us, even though it's a fucking crime. Everybody knows it's a crime. We know for a fact it's a fucking crime. And they're still doing it. And like, how long's it been since we knew they were doing it? The whole country knows that the NSA is committing a crime against humanity. They know it. We know it. Who is in a coma out there? Who is like not paying attention? What? Some 2-year-old maybe. If you're like over the age of 12, you know that the NSA is spying on us. You go down to the freaking airport, try to get on an airplane without being raped by a fucking TSA agent. You know, a criminal is touching your private parts and shit, looking for God knows what. It's against the law. They can't be doing that. They cannot do that. It's a crime against humanity. And yet they do it, and nobody's gone out of the airport and said, hey, fuck you guys, you're not going to do this anymore. Get out. Get the fuck out. Go, or we will kill you. Now, you don't have to go that far, but I'm just saying. People get emotional and they say stuff like that. I'm not advocating killing anybody at the airport now. Don't get me wrong. I probably wouldn't cry too much about it if they did get killed, because free people are tired of it and fed up with being dictated to and bullied and molested at the airport. It's a crime. You're not allowed to do it. TSA agents are criminals. They should be arrested. And every American in this country should go down to the airport that's closest to them and, you know, go down to your local airport, whatever it may be, and walk in and, you know, in mass, like a million of you, and then walk into the airport and say, hey, you, TSA agent guy, asshole, prick, motherfucking criminal, Nazi bastard pig, out, get out, now. And if they don't go, pick them up, drag them out. Drag them out to the street and say, don't come back. Because we're going to be here watching. And if you come back, you're going to get hurt. You're done here. You're a Nazi pig bastard motherfucker, and you're done. And these 5 million people standing behind me mean it. And we will make sure you don't do this anymore. You're done. You're finished. And at the same time, we got 5 million people going to the White House in Washington and, you know, finding the head and director of the TSA people and then, you know, doing the same thing to him. You're out of here, fucker. You're done. We're going to try you for treason, and if you're lucky, we won't execute you for treason. In the meantime, you're getting out of here. We're taking you out, or you're going to walk out. Either way, you're gone. You're out of here. You're history. You can't just talk. Talk doesn't mean anything. Nobody does anything. Just talk. They can ignore you, laugh at you, make fun of you, and shoot you in the face. As they often do. With mace, paper spray, rubber bullets, or real bullets. Seriously. Same thing with dress codes. You got, 500 kids in the Fairmont Senior High School. 500 kids. If all 500 of those kids would go to school tomorrow and say, guess what, principal, sir? No more dress codes in this school, period. And we're not going to leave until you announce that on the PA system. And if you don't do it, like in the next 10 minutes, we're dragging you out of here and you're done. You're not going to be principal here anymore. Because we're the boss. We own the damn school. After all, it's called a public school, isn't it? That means we own it. You don't, Mr. Principal, Board of Education guy, or whomever. Do something, people. Stop being pussies. These people are killing us in the streets. How angry do you have to get? Oh, by the way, you are angry. You're already angry. You're angry at everybody, including each other. You're angry at people that are perfectly innocent of any crime. You're angry at all kinds of people for just having an opinion or just living their lives as they damn well please because they have the right to. You're mad at them. You're hating on them. You're committing civil crimes against them by calling them, bad names that's not true. Lying, defaming people because, yeah. Instead of directing your anger towards the real criminals and the real psychopaths. Those in Washington and your capital of your state and so on. And your local police departments, which are Nazi, fascist, bastard, police state motherfuckers. All of them because they all belong to the same evil criminal organization. Alright. Yes, I'm advocating that people do something. Yes, I am. Start small. Start in your town. Every resident in the town of Worthington, for example, should be at the freaking city building saying, hey, no more poison fluoride in our drinking water as of now. Now. And mean it. And say, okay, if you don't do it, if you don't say you're going to do it right now, and, call someone and say, hey, stop putting fluoride in the water, then we're going to go find the water people in the water department, and we're going to go down to where they put the fluoride in the water, we're going to say, hey, we're here to tell you, don't dump that in that water. If you do, we're going to dump you out the door, and you're never coming back. We guarantee it. Because we own this fucking country. I'm advocating rebellion. Yep, that makes me guilty of some sort of crime, I guess. But everything's a crime, so, duh. It's a crime to smoke in your vehicle in the parking lot of WVU, for example. That's a crime against humanity right there. I mean, it's in my car. I can do what I fucking want in my car. Or in my house. Oh, you're a criminal. Can't talk to a teenage girl because, you're creepy and you're a pervert and you're a child molester and all kind of nasty things which aren't true because I'm not and never did and never will. But still, they say it, they get away with it. It's time to stop them from doing criminal acts. And it's your duty as a human being. If you see somebody committing a crime against another human being, you need to stop them. By the way, by whatever means necessary. Because they're the criminals. They're the bad guys. They're doing the bad things. You're supposed to be, as an obligation, as a responsible human being, stop people from committing crimes against humanity. It's your duty. As a human being. Your responsibility. So do something. Go down to the city building. Go down to the courthouse. Go down to the water department. Go down to the Board of Education. Tell them, we're the people, and you're doing something wrong. Stop fucking doing that. What's wrong? No, I'm not suggesting you anti-abortion fuckers, nut job wing nut freaking idiots. I'm not telling you should go down and tell the government to stop having an abortion. Stop. Make a law making it illegal to have an abortion because it's killing babies. Don't be an idiot. I mean, seriously. That's not the same thing at all. That would make you the tyrant, bully, and son of a bitch and motherfucking asshole. Mind your own business. Not your business. So, alright, time's up for another episode. I made my statement. I've said what I wanted to say. And now you know what I know. Alright, talk to you later. D. McClung, Archer Monologues. Bye-bye.